Hi, this is Dan for Tech Digest and Shiny, and I'm here today with the LG Viewty Smart, the successor to the incredibly popular LG Viewty, which was out a year and a half ago or so. Now, what they've done obviously is given us a new version here, added a few bumps and bits to it, and they're a really quite nice one as well. The most important of those bumps is probably, now that it's gone from a 5 megapixel camera to an 8 megapixel camera, and I am very, very, very impressed indeed. In fact, I would go so far as to say this is probably one of, if not, then one of the very best cameras you can get on a mobile telephone. It's got everything you would expect really from a normal compact camera, minus a few very small bits and pieces. But if I give you a little demonstration of it here, like I say, it shoots 8 megapixel resolution, which is a very good start. But if you go to things like the settings here, it's really, really user friendly. It's got 5 scene modes there, plus an intelligent scene mode too. You've got your exposure settings too, so you can slide that up and down to make it lighter or darker on the photo. Obviously you can change the flash, all sorts of things like that as well that you'd like. You've got an excellent macro mode that goes up to 5 centimeters, which I was really impressed with. There are a lot of phones out there that really only go 10 centimeters close on the macro. You can get really good detail on this. And if you go to the settings, you notice it's very much built like a compact camera. You've got this wheel here that you'd expect to get on top of a camera as well, and it's all pretty obvious stuff. You've got autofocus, you can go manual as well. Also, you've got your face tracking too, image stabilization of course. Also, it's got a very, very good ISO of up to 1600, which is fantastic. It's pretty much, I suppose, what you would expect on any kind of camera now, but they've made sure they've got that in there as well. Shot modes, you've got all of the good stuff they like to put in, like the continuous shooting, the smile shot, the beauty shot. There's an art shot as well, and there's things like panorama shot, where you can stitch your photos together, which actually works really, really well. You get a ghost image, so you can line it up properly. One of the things I like about this too is they've got a feature that really helps, that you can use the touchscreen, as they did on the Renoir, to actually select an area and focus in and get the exposure on that, so that you're ready to shoot. So the minute you let go of that button is when it shoots. So that kind of gets rid of that delay, that horrible delay you often get on a compact camera where you press the button and by the time it manages to actually take the photo, you've missed the shot and it's all disappeared. So it really cuts down on that nicely. The actual workings themselves, you've got a Schneider Krusnak lens, very, very good lens on that as well, plus an LED flash too. The only thing I was a bit disappointed by on the camera is there's no white balance control whereby you can set it to the environment yourself. You have to go for a bunch of auto settings, which is a bit of a shame. Also, it shoots video as well. It does that very, very well. It does that DVD quality, which is quite impressive too. It does that at 30 frames a second, but if you put that down to QVGA quality, you can do that to 120 frames a second. So you can get really good super slow-mo effects that are quite fun. Video playback-wise, it's also excellent as well. It's a really good screen to watch it on. You can look at MP4s, WMVs, AVIs. It does, as it says here, DivX and XVID as well. And it does, and also it's doing that on this really nice 3-inch WVGA quality screen too. You also, on the sound type of thing, on the sound side even, you get a Dolby Mobile, so it's not fantastic, but it makes a bit of a difference. These things kind of help. It also plays back all your MP3s, your WMVs, your AACs, all sorts of files as well there, so you're going to be quite happy with that. As in terms of, away from that, actually using it yourself for like phone calls and all sorts of bits and pieces, they've got what LG are now using, seemingly is pretty much their standard operating system. You can actually see all your functions lined up like little applications, very much as you might expect from something like an Android or an iPhone. I think it really harks to that. But also, if you want to get to the home screen, the main part of it is this, where you're using your finger to spin around from the different sides of it. Here you've got your contacts, you've got the multimedia options here, so you've got all your photos that you might want. Then across you've got your widgets that you might want to put in place, and there's pretty much your home screen with clock and messages and your dialer and all sorts of bits and pieces as well. It works pretty well. It's much better implemented, this touchscreen, than you'd get on the LG Arena, where the screen was really quite dead. The only issue I've got is when you get to this green one, the contacts one, it's very easy just to, when you're trying to go to the next screen, to actually just roll around your contacts instead. You've really got to be quite definite about it. That's the only tricky part. But otherwise, I think it's a much better implemented touchscreen there than LG have done before. The only issue I've really got with this phone is that there's actually no 3.5mm jack. I don't know why people do this. They really expect us to still buy their useless headphones. Unfortunately, they seem to, so they've got that proprietary nonsense in there. Otherwise, I think you're really looking at a fantastic handset. And, you know, it's not an iPhone, it's not an Android phone, but then you're paying about half the money for it. These things are free, and you can get them on a £20 contract a month for about 18 months. So, you know, this is an affordable phone, and for that I think it's excellent quality. So if you don't want to fork out that kind of money and you really want something that gives you a lot of functionality, I think the LG Viewty Smart is an absolute winner.